UK for everyone who live and practice in UK. So Muhammad is an expert Egyptian um, who helped a lot of the people in their life in UK and a lot answering a lot of questions, helping with a lot of debates, and he has a very good experience with all the problem every IMG faces in UK during either in work or in life. So Mohammed, if you want to share your screen, yeah, the session is recorded.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah, we hear you. Just please share your screen.
Right. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, it's coming. Yeah, perfect.
Okay. Can you see now?
Yeah, we can see it clearly. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So, Assalamu alaikum, first of all. Uh, I was preparing something actually for you, like a presentation and kind of like uh, graphicing part of it, but I thought it's gonna be more professional if I just show you the government website, which I would advise all of you to use it going forward. Some of us, if you like, from background like me, from Egypt, when you think of doing or having any transaction or if you have to go to deal with the government in any department, usually you will find someone with the same case, same situation, and you're gonna ask him, "Can you tell me exactly what you have done? Can you tell me step by step what you went through so to get to the end of it?" But the case here in the UK is a bit different. Most of the most of the process, most of the situation, you can simply find it here, as they usually say, black and white on the government website. So that's why I would advise all of you, for anything, as long as it's a government, it should be here in a government, the website gov.uk. All of what I'm going to talk about, I gain all my knowledge from this website. Some of it as an experience of like failure cases from the visa, stuff like that. But the rest of it comes from here as a guidance, as a just a knowledge base on a visas. So every visa will have its own page here, will have its own section for like the fee, the eligibility requirement, maybe like the language as well. And you will have extra document for guidance, some of the guidance for you, and some of the guidance are for the caseworker. So the same person he gonna process your visa, he brings his guidance from here as well. So this website will deal with it as a base. If we're gonna like have a debate, I will say something, you guys say something, we will have to come to a knowledge base that my word against your word is both, actually, sorry, no, it's not my word against your word. It's like any word is like gonna be useless, as long as it doesn't have a link to the government in the UK. If I say something and I couldn't find it here, so it will be my knowledge, my experience. I have my visa like 2010, and I went through all of these. Like the last time I dealt with the government in the UK was about 2018. So I might have like an old experience. And these people, as you know, they change the law very frequently. So I could have tell you something, right? And then when you go and search it here, and you won't find a guide, a reference for it, that's mean what I've experienced before is already gone or changed or updated by another law or updated by another guidance. Okay. So as long as we can still find the reference to the guidance, the law is still there. But if it's changed or if it's been updated, we have to see what's happening, what's the update about, to get the new knowledge for it. So I've sent some topics to Mohammed before that we're gonna talk about, and the first one that they usually everyone talks about it is the certificate of sponsorship, which is the COS. The COS is like a, what do you call it? It's like the permission from the working body or like from your employer, which we call it the sponsor, to tell the government, I need to sponsor this person to bring him to the UK. All right. So what if the person already in the UK? So we have two COS, one for a person outside UK and one for a person inside UK. The common rules for the COS, what they used to do in old days, again, that could be updated now. They used to say, well, we only issue the sponsorship for a certain for a certain professions. All right, you can't, for example, you can't get a COS for a barber shop, but you can get it for a chef because it's one of the shortage occupation. So first thing, it should have the occupation should be in a shortage occupation list, which they updated yearly. Year after year, you have to check if your occupation is still in a shortage occupation, so you still can get you a COS. If you're already in a COS in a country, you can renew it, that's fine. But if you need to bring someone from outside the country, you have to find his job in a shortage occupation list. If it's not in a shortage occupation list, you cannot issue him a COS as an employer. Okay. The second thing is who gonna maintenance this person in the first couple of months, like 1 or 2 months when you come here to find a place to live in and spend to search for accommodation, stuff like that. Usually, most of the employer take that button because it's just a check saying, I will sponsor this person in the first couple of months till he find a place to live in. Only I think the HEE, the shortage for your training body, they don't take that box. As a result, you have to cover yourself with a bank statement saying, I have enough money to support myself in the first couple of months in the UK. And that's usually about 1,000 for the main applicant, and you can add up for the dependent, I guess, like 240 or something like that. Again, where we find that, we go here, we search our visa, your visa, most of you guys are health and care visas, so you will be just health and care visa, that's it. All right. And from these sections, you will find the cost for the visa, all right? And you will find the requirement as well for the application that you need to support yourself. It's a first line here, as you can see. Support yourself when you come to UK, you need 1,000 in 1,270. That's the money. And if you dig inside, you will find how much money you need if you bring in your dependent. So let's see. If we look for your partner and children and just quickly skimming on the website, looking for the numbers. Here they are. The money you need to support themselves. 285 for the partner, 315 for the first child, and each other child is another 200. Again, it wasn't that hard to find it. It's in the main page for the visa. We didn't wait for any PDF or something to read through or find a complex rules. It was straightforward in the page for you to apply for the visa. Not hard, is it? So the people usually ask about when they get the COS, when can I use it? Searching here usually doesn't have this information. You have to go for the guidance, and the guidance usually say you have up to 3 months before the issuance of the visa, right? That you can use it in application. So if I issue, like, let's say I issue a visa sponsorship today, right? And we put the start, like the working, the start working day, which will not be maximum than 3 months. So today is 14 December, let's say 14 February, January, sorry, 14 March. So from today, you can apply up to 14 March as a start date of the work. And the visa itself usually have an expiry date. The COS, sorry, my bad. The COS have four dates: the issue date of the COS, the expiry date of the COS. Okay, that's all related to the COS and only applies on when you can apply for an application. So when you can use the COS to make an application for a visa. The other two dates is related to your work. When you agreed with your employer, let's say he applies for you the visa today, but you agree with him that you will start working from February. So that will be your starting date of work. 1st of February is not related to the issuing date of the COS or the expiry date of the COS. That's not related, okay? Just you will be asked this information in the application. What is the first day in your work? And you'll be writing the 1st of February. When you would like to travel, usually give yourself like a threshold a week or two, and then you're gonna say maybe I'll travel in the middle of January, okay? And then the end date of work. Although you could be coming to the permanent, like having a permanent contract, still the COS have to have a date for the end. What happened after that? Your employer, your sponsor have to renew it from inside the UK this time. But the first time, he have to satisfy the visa. Some people will have a visa of 1 year. Some people will have a visa for 3 years. That's totally up to your employer. Depend, I don't know, many factors, but from what I've seen, usually they think of the newcomer is like a trial and error. We'll bring that person and we'll see if he's good. We're gonna renew for him. If he's not, we didn't spend too much on him. Because usually they spend money on issuing that visa. The first year, I believe it cost them 1,000. And if they add extra year to that, it's like 500 each. So if you ask them for a COS for 1 year, they will issue it for 1,000. If it's for 3 years, they will issue it for 2,000. So that's why sometimes they think of it as like saving the costs. Usually it's not just you. Usually they hire like 100 or I don't know, depending on a corporation or a trust in your case. It could be thousands, right? And that money count up accumulated to millions sometimes. The second thing here is the dependents. Previously, dependent was like nothing we think of. You have a COS, you bring your dependent. Up till now, I think like it's not actually till now. I think just 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, they updated the shortage occupation list with an extra field, and they call it high skilled or medium skilled. If you are in a high skilled, which usually most of your cases, you can bring your dependent. If you are in a medium skilled, you cannot bring your dependent anymore. So you could be issued a COS to come, but to come as a solo person, as a main applicant, that's all. You cannot bring your wife or can bring your children. Uh, so for example, that could apply to people like, I think in nursing, but the nursing, they have their exception. So there is the high skilled immigrant and medium skilled immigrant, and they put an extra list. They call it the shortage occupation list. That list, extra list over the occupation list for immigration. If you are in a shortage occupation, you are okay to bring your family in and issuing you a visa. If you're not, you will be, as of actually here, uh, nice. We were in the same page, and it says if your occupation code is a medium skilled job, but not care worker or senior worker, right? That's going to be a problem. If your job listed as a medium skilled, your partner's children may be able to apply to join to stay okay if one of the following: you are in healthcare. So only if you are a medium and healthcare, you'll be allowed. You're applying from for a child which is already born in the UK. That's mean you already have a visa and you're renewing it. We're not bringing you for a first time. And you are the only living parent responsible for the child, or your child parent also sponsor. That's for the children. Yeah. And for partner. If we go to the list itself, high skilled American eligibility. That's the new column I was telling you about, the eligibility, eligible skilled worker as a high skilled immigrant or a medium skilled immigrant. These flag, that's a new thing, just happened a month ago maximum. And that applies who can bring his dependent and who cannot. but that's something I believe you don't have to worry about. Most of you, sorry, the healthcare in general can bring their dependent. The next issue that we used to have is the NHS training. And with NHS training back in the days, I believe that up to 2020, I guess, they have to force you to switch your visa. So if, let's say you're a dependent, you come with your wife or you come with your husband and you come as a dependent and then you found the training position, the HEE will force you to switch as a main applicant, which will have some complication that especially to your ILR, that you'll have to reset your clock, the 5 years clock to your ILR. But after 2020, they started to understand you as a dependent can work full time and we don't have an issue. We don't need to force you to bring a visa. And since that time, no one been forced or been asked to issue a visa as a main applicant. Usually, if you come as a dependent, no need to go as a main applicant unless you think in the future it might be the situation that you're going to switch who's working and who's staying at home. Let's say the wife came as a main applicant and then the husband came later and he found a job, but the wife is not happy to continue. She will stop working, and then we have all the family have to switch as a dependent to the husband if he found a job or not. So in that case, when in that case, when it will be useful if the husband as well being as a switched as a main applicant as early as possible. Because if he's been like 1, 2, 3 years in a country and then you think, okay, let's move now to be a main applicant, you're losing all the history. You're losing all these 2, 3 years counting toward your ILR. Uh, the other thing about it, we talked about maintenance and the changes. All right, yeah. Usually, sometimes, not most of the cases, but sometimes you send your information to the HR to issue a visa, to issue the certificate, and then they will fail it. Let's say they will write your name wrong, you write your passport wrong, right? In a guidance that says you have two major change, oh, sorry, you have one major change and two minors. I don't remember the number to be honest. I have to go back to the guidance for that. The major is your name and your passport number. The minors is like your address, a description in the work, an hour of the work. Usually they print you out the details of the COS. COS, by the way, is just the number. That's the number using your application. That's the COS. All the information in the COS already in the system for the home office, so you don't need to have to copy it or upload it. The employer himself download a copy of it for you for your reference, just to double check with him that everything was right. So you check your address, you check your name, you check your passport number, the validity of your passport, like the expire of your passport as well. You like double check with him everything. If something wrong, you'll have to tell him, and he will do what's called a correction, an update. And that update will be like a note. He will not gonna change the actual field. The actual field already been saved, and he won't be able to change it at all. What he can do, he's adding a note, an extra note. Uh, let's say he put your address as Alexandria and you live in Cairo, right? You will update him. Well, you put my address wrong. Please correct it. He will just go there and amend it as a note, and you'll find it as a note at the end of the 2 pages. There is a note from the employer saying the correct address is this and this, and that works fine. And the home office will always look at the notes to make sure that all the information are correct. People talking about the language. Okay. The English language, we had a lot of debates about the English language, by the way. Most of you thinks that the OET is one of the valid exams that the UKVI accept. Unfortunately, it is not. When I searched deeply into that, I found one of the OET is accepted. I think it's for pediatrics. Sorry, not for pediatrics. I don't know the word, by the way. The VIT, yes, it's for the VIT. Their exam, their OET is accepted. The normal medicine OET is not accepted. The nursing is not accepted. What they accept their own version of UKVI. What do you call it? UKVI secure IELTS test. Either it's academic or general, they don't care. As long as you get, I believe, 4.5 as a score, and they planning to increase it now to be 5. And but but for doctors, what they found, most of you already had the exam through other organization. By the way, OET is Australian, and then TOEFL is American, right? So IELTS is UK, British stuff. It's again all of most of it kind of. I feel it's like a business. It's my exam. You have to follow my rules. So what they did an exception for the doctors. They said if you registered was one of the bodies that we recognize that they do the checks for English, we will accept their word or their like checks that you are satisfying the English level, right? So we are not accepting the OET as an exam itself. We are accepting GMC saying that Dr. Ahmed, Dr. Muhammad already qualified for the language and we accepted him in our GMC. So that's mean they on behalf of the GMC, the Home Office accepting your level of English, but not that the Home Office accepting your OET. That's not the case. If you'd like to check that again, the knowledge of English here, you come to it and you will find about the framework they look for. Here's the one I was talking about, secure English test. And the some of their countries usually is not our countries, which is kind of like their native language is English. Everyone born there or lived there, they accept him as a English speaker. The other thing as well, if you studied a degree here in the UK, usually they accept that degree. But if, for example, the degree is in another country and you're saying, well, my degree will be taught in English. All right. So now we have to go to what's called NARIC. Sorry, again, NARIC, that's an older knowledge. After the British went out of Euro, they had their own organization. I think they call it ECITS, something like that. And these people, they check your degree, they check your college, the subject you studied, and then they decide, okay, you studied this bachelor degree, and we qualify that this bachelor degree is equal to a bachelor degree in the UK, and we qualify that because of the language you studied, your bachelor degree, we qualify that this will put you on a B1 or B2, right? And this certificate is accepted by the Home Office. So IELTS, the secure IELTS test, the NARIC, the old one, or the ECITS, the new one, or the medical body like the GMC. These are the accepted one. When we come to the ILR, that's when it come more funnier, because an ILR will tell you, okay, have you passed your check for English in your skilled worker visa? Before that question was not there, and before the doctor was forced to go and have an English test. So so you've been passing all the OET exams and living in the UK for 5 6 years, speaking English all the time, as they say, and then they come to the ILR and asking you for having an exam for ILR, and then you go for like Trinity College. It was a very silly exam, you can say, to just to have a certificate saying that you have a B1 level, and you usually have more than that, or you are qualified for more than that. But they updated the application for ILR with that question about the language. They say to you now, have you passed your skilled worker visa? Have you passed the requirement for skilled worker visa for English? And then you take, yes, I already passed that. I've been qualified for skilled worker, and they accepted my English qualification. So you're passing for ILR. You don't need to prove anything to ILR since you already came through the skilled worker uh, passing the language there. So why you've been asking that for ILR? Because again, that's ILR is not just for people coming from skilled workers, it's for everyone. If a person was living here for 10 years, that's what they call it, established life in the UK, which they increased it now to 15 years. He can apply as well for ILR. But when he will ask that question, he's not coming through the skilled worker, so he will be answering that no. And the last thing I need to confirm that in the naturalization, which is the to get the British citizenship, Someone shared with me a screen about the same question has been asked in a naturalization, because definitely in naturalization you have to go for an English test. But then people were saying, well, you've been asked the same question. Have you passed? Have you been qualified? Have you passed the requirement for English in your ILR? If you say yes, you bypass that in the naturalization. Before that was not the case. And again, if you didn't find that question, you can't pass the English. You have to go for a test, or you have to go to qualify your certificate to apply. People were saying, okay, but we got the Royal College membership, and that's accepted as a certificate being studied in the UK. I would say yes. Would they accept it? To be honest, I didn't try it myself, but I would say yes, because they have what they call it level for what it's called a diploma, and then a bachelor and a master and doctoral, etc. And the Royal College is accepted, I believe, as a high diploma. My understanding of it, for the ranking of the study. But again, we have to check here in the Home Office website to confirm that. I believe one of your friends just recently writing on the Facebook group, he said, I tried the Royal College membership and it's been accepted. But again, I didn't check him because he might answer the other question. The funny thing is the questions for English, they come as like three, four questions after each other. And it depends on which and on how many questions you answered yes or no. Usually you have to answer only one yes to qualify for the language if that's your case. You don't need to answer them. You don't need to say, well, I studied a degree in English. I had an IELTS exam. I've passed my skilled worker visa, and I have a NARIC, or I have a degree, sorry, in the UK. So you don't need to answer all of them, because then you will be asked at the end of the application to bring all these documents. Just one question for the whole section of the language section. Just one question was yes, and the rest of them should be go as no. So I didn't check that person. He said, I applied for the Royal College. I need to ask him and tell him what was your application, what was the question you answered, just to make sure that was the case, he's saying. Uh, the other thing, or the last thing about the COS here I have, is the double offer. That's the question that you usually ask a lot. I got offer from an hospital, let's say in Cardiff, and then I got another offer from an hospital in Leeds, and they started the CS process. As the guidance from the Home Office, if the person already has or already gotten COS, you cannot get another COS for him. It can come up as an error, but that's what they say on their website. And that website is not the normal website here for you. It's a website for a sponsorship, what do you call it? The employer management. They call it the SMS, or a sponsorship management system. And there is a guidance for that software. And that software tell them to make sure that the applicant you're applying for a COS has not have a COS before, because we cannot double a COS for a person. So usually when you're still thinking about the job, do not encourage them to get you a COS while you're still thinking about moving somewhere else, or waiting an offer from another people. But if you, in some situation you have, because I don't know, it depends on your condition. You could say, well, I'll have the COS just in case, because I'm not like solid in the other offer, for example, and then I'll just take it if it comes. So that's fine. But if it comes, and then you need the other people, they need the other employer to issue another one. You have to come to the first guy and tell him, sorry for that, I cannot accept your offer anymore. I found something that's suitable to my career progression, etc. And ask him to cancel the COS so you can apply for another one, and don't kind of like delay the other employer for issuing you a visa. Okay, finishing that section of the CS, the other section I wanted to talk about is the driving in the UK. Usually the myth of driving in the UK, that when you're coming, please do the international driver license. And this is just a myth. It's not a mandatory here in the UK. It could be mandatory in another country, but not in the UK. In the UK, to drive a car, right, you need to have a car, which is obvious, and you need to have an insurance, right, to drive the car. And the insurance will have to check that you have a license. Okay. Either you have a provisional license and you're learning, or you have a full UK license, or if you just arriving in the UK, UK says in its website for driver license, you can drive with your international license for 12 months from the first date you enter. Don't say I went to Egypt for a vacation and I'll come back and reset the clock. There is no reset for your clock here. Even if you change the visa, there is no reset for your clock. Your first entry in UK is the first day for that 12 months. Once this 12 months ends, you cannot use your foreigner license. Yes, it can pass. Yes, you could be stopped by the police and they couldn't notice that. But if they check, they will find out that you're not having a license, because once you pass the 12 months, you're not having a license, and you driving without a license means that your insurance is invalid. And then you will be having two offense. The first offense, driving without a license, and driving without an insurance. And now they looking for anything to increase the period for you for the ILR, and they say that in a new statement, if a person has a court or been penalized for something, we're gonna increase the period for the ILR. So if it's 5 years, we're gonna add you like another year for your offense. Because it's kind of for them, we didn't think you are a good character, all right? So we're kind of behaving you extra time to be a good person to accept you within British society. So coming from any country with a driver license, it's okay as long as as long as the insurance company accept it and issuing you insurance, which they will do. That's fine. But what we say, please have it in English, because just in case if you stopped by the police, he won't be able to read your native language. I don't know if it's French, German, Arabic. He won't be able to read that. So he needed in English at the end to read it, and that's all. Uh, Second thing, once you start driving here in UK, the first thing you have to do, apply for a provisional license, to get the provisional license, and then start doing the learning. Again, in the website, if I search it here for a provisional license, it will say clearly, right? You cannot you cannot have a provisional license if you arrive in a country within 6 months. Yet everyone had it. Everyone, not a single person I heard of applying for a provisional license and being told you just arrived in the UK, can't have it, except in a full license, because there was one of the questions on when you're booking a test, when you're booking a practical test, one of the questions saying, have you arrived in the UK for less than 12 months? And you cannot answer no on that one. So you have to wait for 12 months for the practical exam. So uh apply by post, start now. I think I have to go through the question to show you the part of the 6 months. But again, everyone applied for it and everyone got it regardless of that 6 months. But the practical exam has that question. I'm sure about that one. Uh, okay, the next thing on the point here for the driving license is the point in your license. And that's mean if you have an offense while you're driving, let's say you break a traffic light, you could, what do you call it? You couldn't stop on time, speeding, that's depending where you live. For example, I believe now all Wales have a 20. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. Birmingham, for example, we apply 30. Most of the street here in Birmingham is 30. Other cities, sorry, will be ranging between 20, 30, 40. Usually they say between the houses, between like, I don't know what to say. If there is a lights in the street, that's mean the street is 30. That's the default. If there is a lights in the street, the default is 30, unless it's saying otherwise. So unless there is a traffic sign saying the speed is 40 or the speed is 20, the default is 30, as long as there is a light, not the motorway light, right? For the Doyle carriage, the speed, the default, I believe it's 50. My understanding, I'm not sure about that. And what I mean by Doyle carriage is, again, you don't have a light, but you have a coming and incoming, and between them there is an aisle, a platform, whatever. There is a barrier between the both. The minimum is 50. And the motorway, I think the minimum for it is 60. Again, unless there is a traffic sign saying against that. So sometimes in a motorway, you have that digital signs. And the digital sign, by the way, if it's in red, it's mandatory. If it's green, it just like calming, or what we call it, calming signs. So it could be in a green. You are in a motorway. It's 70 by default, but you could have a sign in a green saying there is a queue up ahead, and reduce your speed to 50. Okay, so that's like a calming one. But if it's in red, that's mandatory. And I once got a speeding ticket for that. I was driving in a motorway. I know 65, and this sign was saying to drive at 60. And when I got the ticket, it was like, say, you're driving 65 on a motorway. And I kept thinking about it. It's a motorway. The default is 70. Why are they giving me a ticket for 65? I thought at the beginning, actually, they're giving me a ticket because I was so slow. But they give me a ticket because I searched it in the internet. I found that between exit 14 to exit 18 on M6, there is a mandatory signs and you have to follow it, and the speed between these exits are 60. So again, you have to follow the signs, but the default rule, if there is a light, 30. If it's a dual carriage, it's a 50. If it's a motorway, it's a 60. Uh, Last thing, will this affect the ILR? There is no direct answer, but if you've been taken to the court, yes, it could affect your ILR, especially now, especially when they're updating the rule. I had a case, he had an issue driving without not driving, I won't say driving without insurance, but what happened, he went for the practical exam, he failed for the eye test on the practical exam. Okay, and he was driving with an international license, so he got a letter from the DVLA asking him not to drive, right? And then we thought that's a letter from DVLA just talking about UK license, they don't talk about the international license. But then he got stopped by the police and said, you have a warrant on you from the DVLA that you are not allowed to drive. That means your insurance is invalid and you are driving now without a license, without insurance. He's been taken to the court. He explained his whole case to the court, and the court just like understood his situation, that he didn't know that if he failed the practical test, that his international license will be failure as well. All right. And the court reduced the penalty for him. Actually, the penalty is supposed to be 9 points plus 1,000. And they give him, I believe, 206 point, which he still can manage. Sorry, 3 point. Because 6 point in a first license mean you fail your license straight away and you have to redo the license. So once you get your practical, once you get your full license, if you get a 6 point in your license, that means you have to do your exam. He give him 3 point and he give him 200 penalty, and that did not affect his ILR. He got his ILR 3 months ago. But again, with what they're looking for now, they're looking for a good character. So if you've been going to the court a lot, even it's a driving offense, that could count against you, that it's not a good character. And they have a question now in ILR about any offense you having for driving.
Ahmed, there is a
Uh,
question.
yeah, sorry, I
Yeah.
don't see the
So
chat.
yeah, I was in the UK 2 years before, and I have a provisional license. I had a provisional license, and then after a year, I left UK for 2 years. I'm planning to go back to UK. Am I allowed to drive with the Egyptian license for a year again, or I have to update the provisional license and do the test? So basically, 2 years in UK, left for two
You
years. I'm
need
planning
to-
to come back. Is he
yeah.
allowed to use the 1 year, 1 year with the Egyptian license again, or he has used it in his first visa?
My understanding, he's used it in his first visa, because as usually he make the provisional license. But again, I'm not the final answer in that. We can go to the guidance for that and check. But my understanding, once you came here, use your international driver permission. That's it. It ends there.
Yeah. Okay.
The next is there other question? I was looking at the chat. Keep you were
No, no,
talking.
that's the only question.
Okay, to use. Do I recognize you, Mustafa? Or the name is just similar. There's one here. I know his name.
Hello.
Again. Okay. Living and housing. Okay, one of the funny thing, everyone think that the renting here in the UK is easy thing. Unfortunately, it's not. You're abiding by the by the contract, and it's all against you. It's not against the owner. The little thing in a contract against the owner is if the place is not livable, if it's not safety, the heating is not working, and we are in the winter, right? Apart from that, it's all against you. What I usually say, once you're having a place to live in as a rent, first thing you look for, make sure that you take a picture of everything, every wall, every little detail in the house and apartment, whatever, and send that as an official email to whoever you're renting from, if it's directly from the owner or if it's through the agent. Could be, this is your check. So this is your inventory, right? I did my own inventory, and that's the list I found on the place. Because when you're going out, you are liable for everything in the apartment or in the house, regardless if they didn't find it in a first inventory when you went in, and they found it later when you're leaving, they will count it against you. One of the funny thing, if there is an appliances in a flat or a house, and these appliances are from the previous tenant, so the owner will come to you, okay, there is a sofa there. Would you like to have it? And you will say yes. Once you said yes, it's yours. When you're leaving, you have to take it with you. You can't leave it. If you left it in the house, they will charge you for recycling it, right? Although it's not yours, but you agreed to take it from the owner and you add it to your list. The the other thing which is most important is the duration. Sorry, I got two questions here. Anyone know to look or find it? If you left in your house and no way to get the post letter from there. Usually, when you leave your house, you go to the Royal Mail on the website and you ask for a routing. A routing means I used to live in this address. I have a proof for that. My previous bank statement, whatever bills, gas, electric, water, right? And now I live in that address, and you will route all the message that come under your last name to the new address. I'm renting for 3 years, but now I have not been asked to sign inventory. Is that a problem? Yeah. Well, the you should have been asked when you enter the house, okay? And if you check that your contract have nothing about that, uh, it could be, I don't know, it could be something like informal between you and the owner, right? And he could be easy on you when you're leaving. But again, he's still liable. If anything happen, he can come and say. But the only point in your case that I did not sign, as you said, as long as you're not signing, just make sure it's not just a signing, by the way. The agency can send it to you by mail. So the agency can send you either by mail a document or even by email and telling you that's the list, that how was the house condition. Sometimes they send you the, what they call it now, the new trend, the deep clean. They just go to any cleaning company, and they get a ticket for what's sorry a receipt for what's called the deep clean. They clean the house deeply, and usually that costs between 200 to 300, anything between these numbers. And they will ask you when you leave to do the same. So I was talking about the period. If you sign a contract for 3 years, you have to pay the 3 years. If you're leaving the contract, you are liable to the rest of the at the period of the contract. You can't say I'm leaving now. You have to pay the rest of the 3 years. Although the owner can say yes or no. So if the owner was happy for you to leave, that's fine. Otherwise, you have to pay him. The worst case scenario that you will have to pay the full 3 years, but you can't be lucky if someone else is welcome is happy to rent after you, right? So you'll be only paying the rent till the next tenant taking the house, or you will be paying the rent till the agents advertise the property and got another tenant for you, and you will paying some extra fee for that. But that will be when you are lucky. But the worst case scenario, you have to pay the whole length, unless in the contract you insist in one of the statement in a contract which it says the contract is for 3 years, with a break clause after 6 months, which mean you only you only binding yourself to the 6 months, right? And after 6 months, you are okay to leave with 1 month's notice. It will be written in a contract as well, with 1 month's notice or 2 months, 2 month notice, and that will be written in a contract. If there is no break clause in a contract, that's mean you have to do the full length of the contract, and that unfortunately happened to a lot of people, by the way. The deposit you pay, the deposit you pay for the house is not what the owner looking for. He can look for more than that, right? I'm saying looking for as he's greedy, but sometimes they are, yes. So when you leave the house, do you think, okay, I've done this. My child drew on some walls. We break a, I don't know. We break a tap, or we break a door handle, or whatever. We burn the little bit of the carpet. I don't care. It won't. He have a 1,000 deposit. Let's leave it to him. No, he will not. He will not only look for the 1,000 deposit. He will literally bring a company, or through the agent. The agent will do that. If the Usually the agent will do that. They will bring a company, look at all the damages, give them a quotation. Give them a quotation, and then they will forward the quotation to you, regardless of how much is the quotation. Someone was talking to me, and he has a quotation of 3,500, and I asked him for the damages, and he sent me the list of the damages, and it was a lot actually. And I told him, we're not talking about the money, we are talking about the list of the damages. Have you done all of this? And he said, yes, my kids did it. And I was like, why you didn't fix it before you leave? And the first thought he come to his mind, he said, I only thought he will only look for the deposit. He will only take the deposit and that's it. No, you're not just liable to the maximum of the deposit. You're liable to the maximum of the whole house. Another one was we're posting the other day on a Facebook about he left for a vacation, something like that. He went back to Egypt, and then there was like a broken tap, or they left the tap. I don't remember what was the situation, but there was a leak, right? It flooded his apartment, and then the signs of the leak degraded to the next floor, right? And then he was coming back with a damage list of thousands. I don't remember the number, but he was talking about too much money, and he says it's not just because of my owner wanted the insurance for the damages, the tenant beneath him as well. He was asking for money for the damage that happened to his apartment as well. So the deposit is not the limit, right? You have an apartment. Please take care of it. Take all the picture as much as you can when you come in, and then when you're coming out, compare it with the picture, right? If they adding something on you, you have your own you have your own proof. They cannot just say, well, this carpet wasn't like that before, because you have your proof. Most of the people will say the owner is a nice person. He give me the house without the deposit, etc. We kind of friendly. Yes, it could be, but nothing is stopping him from coming legal against you. Nothing is stopping him at all, at any point, right? Or you can think, oh, I live in this apartment with a contract of 5 years. That's fine. He can come next month telling you, I have a family person need the house. You have to go out, and you have to go out. You can't stay. You can stay with problems. Like, you can stay, and he will bring a police warrant against you to kick you out from the house, evict you from the house, etc. And that will be a bad reference for your next house, right? But at the end, you cannot stay. If he asks you to move, you'll have to move. He have 3 or 4 reasons, I believe, and he usually use one of these reasons. He can just telling you to leave. He will be saying a family will live in a house. He will live in a house. He need to sell the house, and the last thing I think he need to do a renovation to the house. So he gonna like add an extra or something, or like renovate the house for selling stuff. But I believe again, from the COVID, because a lot of owners were looking to kick a lot of people that not working when there was a lot of layout and a lot of redundancy happening in the country, right? So the law came in to try to stop the owner from kicking a tenant because he cannot pay the rent, right? But he still kick him for the other reason. but he kind of like freezing him from not kicking the tenant from not paying the rent. But I don't think that's the case till now. It was only at the era of the COVID. Finally, uh, the if you have something to be fixed, right? Again, you keep it friendly. You're living in a house. You need the agent. You need the owner. You don't need to be tough against them, but still you need your stuff to get done. So you can give them an option. Don't just give them like fix it or I'll leave. You can ask them fix it. I can have it fixed and I can send you the receipt and they can be welcoming. Yes, go fix it. Let's say it's the radiator, it's the boiler, right? And it's important. We are in the winter. We need some warm. All right. So ask him, can you send someone as soon as possible, or if you want, I can find someone and I'll send you the receipt. And they sometimes they will be happy for you to do that. Bring the fixer on your own, right? Uh, Bring the handyman, and then you fix it. Ask him to give you a receipt, all right? And send the receipt to the owner, and they deduct that from the next rent. Any difference between a six contract and a 6 year months break clause? Also, is it mandatory for me to allow you tenant visiting? Yeah. Well, again, it's not mandatory. You can only allow him in a timing when you are in a house, right? You can give him the times, but let's say he's selling the house. That's a totally different case. He will usually will want you to leave so he can do something to the house before he put him on a market. But when he bringing another tenant, he will ask you when you usually available, right? And you can tell him about your timing, and then he will bring people while you are in the house. Between a 6 months and a 6 month contract or a year with a 6 months break, both are the same. The only difference that after the 6 months contract, the first one, he will ask you to leave unless you send him an email asking him to extend the contract on month-to-month basis. If I have delayed my DVLA address change due to forgotten and I have received a bargaining ticket that's sent my, yeah, you will be taken to the court. Definitely you'll be taken to the court for that, and that will only be your excuse, that I've changed my address and they sent it to my old address. That's all. And usually if you definitely change your address, usually the next before you've been taken to the court, the next letter will come to you, right? The Usually this penalty comes as a letter with a 15 days discounted penalty to be paid. Let's say if it's 160, they will ask you to pay 80. If it's 60, they will ask you to pay 30 within 15 days, and then it will be the full penalty, right? And then they will warn you with another letter that they're gonna take you to court, and then they usually some companies do that. They sell your penalty. So I'm a company A, I am the one who's authorizing you the penalty, but I'm not gonna chase you for it. I'm gonna sell it to company B for a reduced amount. So if the penalty was 160, I will sell it to another company, let's say for 100, and they will try their luck with you as well. Changed it in a bit later. How could I know about that? Well, you won't be able to know again. You didn't change your lawyer. You didn't change your email, your mail address, your post address was the Royal Mail, and and you don't, if you certain, I tell you what, if you're certain about a penalty, let's say you stayed in a place extra hours, or you stayed in the front of the shop and you know that shop does that, ask them what the company that manage the parking lots, right, and email them to check if you have a penalty against you or not, just to make sure. Final thing for the housing here is the point we have for mortgage. That's actually a very long topic, but we'll come through it very briefly. Mortgage is the uh, is the interest way to get a house. In Arabic, riba, right? But it is allowed. We have a fatwa from the European Council, Islamic European Council. If this is the case, if that's the only bank you can find and there is no Islamic way to get a house, you can go. You've been allowed the riba, the interest, and and now I believe we have companies like the Kuwaiti bank, I think, called the Gatehouse, and they give you the option of halal mortgage, kind of, before there was a Rayyan. and that was a Qatari one. And I don't think of any other. Yeah, before that was Lloyd Bank. Lloyd Bank has a Islamic Lloyd Bank branches. The main the main headquarter was in Leicester. Uh, and I believe Ryan actually bought it. Yes, sorry. So it was Lloyd, and then been bought by Ryan, and then Ryan is not giving mortgage anymore. And now we have Gatehouse, another option. What Gatehouse usually does is they call it a shared ownership, right? So he's not giving you the money to buy the house. He's buying a house with you. So in a contract, it will be you and Gatehouse, both of you, owner of the house, right? So you buying 10% of the house, 20% of the house, the gatehouse is paying the rest. So you staying in the house, the gatehouse will ask for a rent for his part in the house. You will say, but this part is exactly the same like the interest from the other bank. It doesn't matter. Still, he's a owner. He's not giving you the money. He's a owner, and you are not the solo owner on on the house. So it doesn't matter. He used this measure at the end. We have an inflation, and we have a Bank of UK, Bank of England, sorry, that mandatory all these rules about how much depreciation will happen to your money, right? So the bank will lend you 100,000. By the end of the year, this 100,000 will equal exactly like 98, I don't know, 95, depending on how much the depression is at the end of the inflation rate will happen at the end of the year. So depreciation, sorry, I was saying depression all the time. This depreciation. So the inflation rate that will be decided by the Bank of England, that will decide the value of the money, right? So the guy didn't lend you a gold and asking you for a gold back. I'm not going to go into this details because again, people with the religious study will be more expert than me to doing that. But my understanding, they are not giving you money, they are not lending you something, so there is no interest in that. They are sharing with you, they buying with you, so kind of like partnership in a house, all right? And they asking you for a rent on their part. Yes, it's looked like an interest for the amount you're paying at the end, but it's not an interest at all. The interest when the bank give you the money, you are the sole owner of the bank, of the house, and the bank asks you for the money. He doesn't ask you for the house. He asks for his money from time to time. And usually the advice here, if you're buying a house, is you put your name and your wife, just in case, God knows. For in a case of inheritance, her name will be in house, so your share will be automatically be bypassed to her. That will be one of the good things. Banking section here. Okay. I wanted to add banking, especially because a funny situation happened to me. I hope it's not going to happen to any one of you in the future, inshallah. But the quick thing we talk about here is the first either thing is traveling with cash. Again, if I search it here, traveling with cash, sorry, and I say what, sorry, I see what how much cash, take cash here straight away on the website. You must declare 10,000 or more. So that's your maximum. And if you go into the detail on this page, it will tell you that if you're traveling in a family ticket, so you and your partner, your kids, you can't say I have 10, my wife have 10, every one of my kids have 10. The whole trip is 10,000. If you travel separately, then yes, each of you can have a 10,000, but 10,000 is a maximum. And it's a very important, by the way, to declare that when you're coming into the UK. I mean, it's important as well when you're coming out to be a proof for the country you're going to, but it's more important when you're coming to the UK because usually when you put this money in a bank, the bank will ask you where you get the money from. So if it's 10,000, the bank knows that you have to declare it at the airport and they will ask you for a declaration sometimes. The banks are annoying now when you put in cash, but at the end you put the cash in your bank, no problem. But they will be annoying you with a question where you get this money from, what you've done, what you've sold, etc. I'm not sure if that will raise a flag on you if you're adding a lot of cash, but again, at any time, a bank can report you to HMRC or HMRC randomly, right? So the funny thing, what usually say randomly never happens, but it happens, right? Randomly will it check you, randomly a police will stop you. It never happens, but it happened. From time to time, they do it randomly. They do a random check. I mean, how many of you have been stopped in airport when coming to be asked to be searched for his bags? No, I've never heard of anyone have it. Sorry, I've heard of one have it. I myself had it before 2009, right? And they searched everything in my bags. They searched everything. And one of my friend was bringing some food from Egypt, and it's been taken away, thrown away, and he's been given a warrant. I've been told that if you done it again, we could deport you back, right? So it's a serious. When you come to the UK, you have two entrance. You have the green and you have the red. If you have milk, dairy, uncooked meat, you have to go through the red and tell them what you're having, right? And then they will decide taking it from you or not. If you're not sure, go through the red. Don't go through the green, right? When you go through the green and being asked, is like they caught you, right? You're not declaring. They caught you, and you were trying to kind of skip some food today. Okay, a lot of people doing it. A lot of people will tell you, I brought this and this and that. That's fine, but if any of them has been caught, he will tell you totally a different story about that. So the money, coming back to the money, 10,000 and more, you have to declare it. Bank transfers. Usually, I was in Saudi Arabia back in the days, and it's so easy. Ask someone, can you do this transaction for me? Oh, yeah. Can you buy this online for me? Oh, yes, I can do that. Can you send this money to home bank? And I've done it here as well in the UK till I got a lot of problem about that. Taking money from someone to send it to other person, unless you know the boss person very well, don't do it. Don't do it at all. Let's say I'm buying a car, right? I come to you, I buy a car. The easy example I usually give because it's easy to understand. I'm buying a car, you tell me how much it is, and then you told me it's 5,000. My name is Mohammed, okay? Give me your bank details. You give me your details, and I've sent you the money through Adam or through Hassan or whatever, right? You check your bank. Oh, I received the money. Here's the car. We changed the ownership on the DVLA. Everything's fine. A week or later, Hassan or Adam or whatever, he will go to the bank that you is a fraud and you scammed him for the 5,000. The bank will ask you, where do you get this 5,000 from? From Muhammad. But the sender name is Adam. No, Muhammad bought a car from me and I have a proof for the car sale. Okay. But the sender was Adam. Who's Adam? Adam here is a third party, right? And that's what they call it, third party payment. Third party payment is not advised. It's kind of like illegal almost, right? It's not advised by all the bank to accept a third party payment. A money coming from a third party means you're a seller, there is a buyer, and then a third party sending you the money. That's totally unacceptable because you do not know what have been told to that third party person, right, to send you the money. He could be scammed, he could be frauded to send you the money, and then he still think that you're one of the gang in an organization frauding him, right? Because what they do, they call people on the phone, they get them from the website, etc. They talk them into a lot of stories, whatever story you like, betting, like betting and stuff like that, or maybe gambling, or maybe even crypto, right? And they will ask them for investment, okay? And whatever amount of money they will agree on, they will come to find a person who's selling something for the same amount of money to buy it immediately from him. So the victim can send him the money, all right? And they just get the money from or get the goods from you, and you got a proceed of a crime. This money you receive now is being called a proceed of crime, not a money for something you sold, because you accepted it as a third party payment. So be careful to who do you receive the money from. One of the cases as well, a person, if he knows you through the online, whatever situation, he will send you the money and then he will be like calling you, oh, sorry, I sent you the money by mistake. Can you please send it back to me? You can't. You can't send him the money back. If he give you a bank details with the names, even sometimes if the name matches, you don't know if the bank detail matches or not. Usually your bank does not tell you which bank account number or sort code sent you the money. So you can do it yourself. So you have to ask him for the details. If he give you any details, he's been bridging you. So now you are a bridge, receiving the money from a victim, sending the money to the fraudster, and you are in the middle, will be counted in the front of the police as helping the fraudster to escaping the money. So if you receive the money that you don't know where this money come from, just call the bank, report it on your mobile app, unknown transaction. I don't recognize this amount of money. The bank will take care of it. He will take it back, send it to the sender bank, and the sender bank will deal with it. And now you like removed all the threat from your bank account. And this thing is very serious. If the bank is not happy with your transaction or whatever you're doing in your bank, the easiest thing that you can do, stopping you from using their bank account, asking you to remove your money, or if you have a fraud case against you, even worse, they will block your money, take the money for the victim, send the victim his money, and then ask you to leave the bank, adding a flag on you on what's called now CFAS. This is like an organization uh, between the banks. So whoever done anything wrong with the bank, they will mark him there. And the result of that, other banks usually do a random check, like let's say every 6 months they update the list, and if they found one of their client in the list, they will ask him to close his account. So it's not just the bank you did the problem with, all other bank will close your account, and when you won't be able to open a single bank account again or a credit card unless you remove that CVAS record, and that record stay on you for 5 years. So be careful on that, please. Especially when it comes to crypto, it's an easy thing. The easy way for money laundering and the fraud is the crypto, because once the money goes to crypto, it's not traceable after that. So please be careful. Next section is the service contracts. And we hear about the service contract. We usually talk about the council tax, TV license, internet and phone, gas, electric, water. Council tax, nothing you can do about it, really. It's been there for years. It will continue like that. Whatever money they will ask for, you have to pay it. Who have to pay it? The people live in a house. If it's one, two, three, if you're sharing a house, sorry, if you're sharing a house, you split it together. If not, it's your responsibility. Unless in some very few cases, the owner of the house will ask you to pay it for you. So he will pay the council tax for you, and usually that's not a good situation, by the way, having the owner paying you the council tax, unless you know him and you know it's okay. But usually these people living in a house in the front of the council, that they're still living in a house and they're not telling the council that they rented the house. That's why they have to pay the council tax themselves and to keep the council tax under their name. The council tax comes as a band A, B, C, etc. So as long as it depends on in a neighborhood you're living in, and the size of the house as well. The basic is A, usually that for the studio small flat. Starting from houses is B. Sometimes a property, a full house with 2 bedroom or 3 bedroom could count as A, but not like a common case. Most of the cases that's a B level, and then C, D, etc. TV license, these people is like scam. I deal with them like a scam. First time I came here to the country, it was okay, right? It was okay to watch anything apart from BBC. And then they updated to know it's not okay to watch any live. So any live show. Regardless it's the BBC, you're watching Al Jazeera, you're watching the first channel in Egypt, whatever, they don't care. As long as you're watching live, you have to pay for it. And then they upgraded it because before I was watching the BBC on the BBC player. So you go to the BBC player and you can watch the episode or whatever, but not live. You don't need to watch the live channel. You just watch whatever, and what they call it on demand or recorded. And that was okay before. Now everything produced from the BBC you cannot watch on a YouTube or on a BBC player. You're not allowed to watch any of that, plus all the live shows. So you have to tell them I'm not watching anything live. I don't have the BBC anyway. I only watch videos, recorded videos for the kids or for myself. The podcast stuff like that is okay. If he come to his house, you can stop him. You can like stop him from going into your house. He's not a police. He doesn't have the authority to force you to go into your house, right? But usually they will bother you more with emails and threatening emails if they came to your house and you stop them. When they came to my house once, I let them in. They found when it was okay to watch the BBC player, and they actually didn't see the BBC Play. They only watched that my kids was looking for the cartoon at that time when they went in. And from that time, I'm just renewing my license, or my like dropping of license, or like not leading, not sorry, not needing a license every 3 years, I think, something like that. They send me a letter to renew my situation every 3 years, saying that I don't watch their produce, and I don't watch a live show, or something like that. And they never came to my house after that. Next thing, internet and phone. Internet and phone, these are contract. And when you remember the contract, it's the same like the contract for the rent. Once you have a contract for a phone or internet for 12 months, it's for 12 months. You have to pay it, right? Some companies, right? Not all of them. Some companies will let you leave. So like say you get to the 6 months or 7 months and I'm leaving out of the country, they will be okay with you dropping the contract. Or let's say you live in Bradford and then you move to Leeds, but the provider doesn't have the service on the new address. Okay, they will drop the contract, but other provider will still asking you for the rest of the contract, although you left and you're asking for the same service, but they cannot provide it. They will tell you that you still have to pay it, because we are not liable for you to you don't have the rules in the terms and the say the terms and condition in a contract for us to mandate us to bring you or to provide you the same service on your new address, right? So you have to read your contract and make sure about this. If I'm leaving the place I am in, well, I'll still be asked to pay the rest of the contract, or it's okay for you to move it to the new address. When they still say it's okay to move it to the new address, you have to ask again, well, I'll move to the new, what if you don't provide the service in the new address? And then will be the issue. Either they will say it's still okay, we'll cancel the whole contract, nothing on you, or they still you have to pay us, especially with the internet phone. It's okay, you move, no one care about moving your where you live with your phone. Next thing we have here is sorry, gas, electric, water. This is one of the important thing you do as well when you rent a new house. Straight away, take these numbers, register it, send it to the agency. I went in a house, that's my first day. The gas reading is this, electric is that, water, if it's a meter or estimation, you just notify them about the date and the reading, and you go to the companies of these services to tell them that you moved house and you are the new tenant in the house, and you need the receipts for the service under your name. And when you're leaving the house, going to another place, you have to inform the companies that you're leaving your house. You can, by the way, inform them upfront. So you can come to, especially with the internet, because they take long time to install it in the next house. But the gas, electric, and water doesn't matter because the other house have it anyway, so not a big deal. But with the internet, you have to tell them and make sure that you're telling them in upfront, giving them at least, I think, sometimes with Virgin Media, they need like 4 weeks. You're telling them that you're moving to a new house, and they will arrange that in that date you're giving them, the new house will have the internet, and the house you are in, the internet will be stopped. Same for gas. Just tell them when you're leaving, that's my last date in this property, end my contract at that reading for the gas, electric, and water. And then when you're going to the new house, update them with the new place. If you would like this company, if you think it's a good company and you need to continue with it. Sorry about that. Last thing we have here is the health and care visa, and some of its rules, or some of like debated rules. And these rules, it changed a lot, to be honest, changed many times. And one of them, I will open the website here with you to make sure of it. The one major thing that stays the same is the absence. You only have a max of 180 per year, right? And per year here doesn't mean a start year, ending year, January, December, or the year you enter, the year you left. No, it's any consecutive 12 months, as they say on the guidance. So any following 12 months, they can randomly pick any 12 months if there between this 12 month there is a 6 months absence, yes, you won't be do it as a main applicant, but your dependent can do it, and then they will lose their continuous leave to remain 5 years. They will reset their clock for that. I would say they will have some exception. So if there's like an urgent case back at home, a disease, a family member, God forbid, lost or something, someone is doing a surgery back home, etc. You can bring this evidence, right? But that won't be like a straight case. It will be again under the consideration of the caseworker. But you have some threshold they look for to give you like extra if you exceeded the 160, but sorry, the 180, which is 6 months. But again, don't try to do that 6 months within any continuous 12 months. Usually people say you can do 3 months every year to be in a safe side, but again, you usually don't need that amount of time as well, unless you're a dependent. Again, you can do it. One of the things that missing for a lot of people, that the first date in the UK, usually people will look to their valid sticker on a passport. That's the that's the first permission to get into the UK. But let's say in some cases the BRB, the old one, the card, the printed card, which is no longer the case now. If the people still have that card, the first one or a copy of it, in some cases, it will have a date earlier than the Venice sticker, and they can use that date as an allowable absence and use it against the 5 years life in the UK, right? So let's say we are in December, and you went in the UK December 20, right? Not December. Let's say you come in the UK February 21, all right? And the first card you received was having the date December. You can use that date to apply for the ILR, not the VINT sticker. Although your VINT sticker was in February, but the card, the BRB you received, was valid from December, the year before. So you can use that date, and the time between the issuing of the BRB, the validity of the BRB, to the time you enter the UK, that will add to your absence. So let's say you went in the UK two months after that, and in the same year you went back Egypt for another month or two. That's still okay. 4 months total, that's still okay in the 12 months. And you can use the first date on your BRB to be the date counting for the 5 years. Over time, that's the subject I wanted to search the website about it, because in the era of the COVID, overtime was open to the health and care. They were saying literally on a website here, you can take additional work as much as you can. And then they stopped it, they opened it again, stopped it. And I believe the last time they did extra condition for it. So for example, here in a website, they're saying there is no limit how many hour overtime you can do, right? So you can do overtime as much as you like, but you also can work up to 20 hours in a week in another job. Okay, so when he's saying here how many hours, I think that he means your own sponsor. If you work overtime in a job you are being sponsored for, you do not need to update your visa. So as long as you work in the same place, taking locum in your same place, that's not a problem. You can do as much as you can, and there is no limit. But if you take in an extra job outside your sponsor, all right, you can only do up to 20 hours. And the new thing here that I've never seen someone doing it is, if you exceeded that, they asking you to add another COS. I've never heard of it as a person doing it, and I don't know how you can do it to like have two COS or a COS for a double jobs, right? But usually in your locum, most of your locum happening in the same with the same trust. If you are, I think you call it locum bank, to have a locum within your trust. So if we read through, yeah, clearly it says, except this is extra for the GB, because usually a lot of people finishing the GB earlier and they can't find jobs, so you give them extra 4 months after they finish to search for a job. But the advice always, when you're finishing your training, 3 4 months before it finish, you should secure another job. Yeah, so straight away you can do as much as you can with the same employer. With an extra employer, you only have 20 hours to work. So that's for the overtime and locum. Locum in old days was all outside IR 35. IR 35 is the rule that applied in 2020, sorry, 2019. I'm not sure 2019 or 2018. But by that year, all the locum has been counted as PAYE, or pay as you earn, before you have to open a company. And if you know any doctor here in the UK that have been living in the UK before 2018, just search his name on a company house, and I guarantee you will find a company under his name, because that was the case. If you want to work a locum, you'll have to open a company, but it's not the case after 2018 and 19, except in some situation I've heard of. I'm not a doctor, by the way, you know that. So I've heard of in some situation for a consultant, the hospital can accommodate him to be outside IR 35. And in that case, he have to open a limited company to invoice them for his work. Uh, I think we're coming to the end of it. What I have missed, I have it here as well.
I think we've done most of it. Thank you so much, Mo. So, do you mind if you share like a number of a contact if someone wants to ask you something beyond the main topics we discussed? This will be very helpful. Or
Yes, so I have a I have not like a solicitor I used before. Again, I've never used a solicitor. Uh, Even with the court, I tried the court twice myself without a solicitor. Uh, but I have a solicitor I found on the Facebook through his videos. Uh, from what I've seen, I've never dealt with what I'm trying to say. I've never dealt with him before, but from what I've seen, I think he's knowledgeable person and know exactly what he's doing, because a lot of solicitors I found they focus in a certain subject in immigration. So most of them work in the case of I forgot the word. What do you call it? Sorry. Uh, the asylum, sorry, my bad. So most of them they are focused on asylum, because that's most of the business and that's most of the issues, and the rest of it is just a paperwork. Solicitor is only filling a paper for when it comes to the straightforward visa, like health and care, or ILR, or even naturalization. For them, it's just a filling paper. It's not a case. He's not dealing with anyone. He's not doing any extra effort. He's just filling the document for you. Uh, so the other cases, which is the asylum go through courts, and he have to go for the court against the Home Office, against their decision, which is usually a refusal, and he's trying to get the law for his client to get the acceptance on his asylum. So that guy, he's a solicitor, and again, the level of solicitor you can find one saying, "I can help you with your visa application." Okay, it doesn't need to be a solicitor. Again, he's just a person filling a paper, or he could be a solicitor but only filling a paper, or you can go for a lawyer. And a lawyer, that's if you have a police case and you have a court case, you can have a lawyer. And by the way, the lawyer will only sit with you, understand your situation, find the law that will help you, and write a statement or write a defense. But in the court, that lawyer doesn't go to the court. I believe there is another level from them called barrister, something like that, who can stand in a court just to tell the point or the defense that has been written by the lawyer. So a lawyer tried the defense and statement with you, and then give it to the barrister that goes to the court with you in front of the judge and the jury to present your case, kind of like a presenter more in a more situation. I will share the link with you. I don't have it in me, sorry. I don't have it with me. I'll share it with you, but if I open my Facebook, actually, I can get it straight away. Any other question while I'm doing that here?
No, I think you answered all of them.
So I have saved one of his adverts to come back to him quickly. Now I have to open my saved items. Yeah, was saved. Oh, found him. He's called the Bukhari.
Just if you put in the chat, would
Yeah,
be
I'll,
better.
I'll I'll put his page on the chat now.
Yeah.
So that's his face. Just recognize him, and I'll put his page here. I'll get his page copy.
Yeah. It's very helpful.
I'll put it here. Bukhari Chamber.
Yeah, perfect. Good. Thank you so much, Muhammad. Really, really helpful. And I think um, a lot of these points were very clear, and I think you made it very clear. So hopefully everyone got something from the session and all had a chance to ask all the questions and answers, and you answered most of them, all of them actually. Yeah, we may think about another session about a certain topic if there is something storming here or there. But I think the general topics and the main questions, which is answered all the time on the different groups, have been answered. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks everyone who attended, and hopefully it was a fruitful one for you. And